Hello everyone and welcome to Gamers Diamond. In this video I'm going to be explaining the revenue format for competitors, how competitors make money in competitions. Now the simple explanation is something that I like to call collective cash, which is a modified system of entry fees converting to prize pools. Now what do I mean by this? Basically each competitor pays a certain entry fee. Don't worry, these are going to be very low entry fees, nothing crazy, but they pay a very low entry fee. And this all adds to the prize pool, and then they fight for the prize pool. And the good part about it is that Gamers Diamond doesn't include any luck-based elements or any luck-based games in any of their competitions, so it's not like they're gambling for the prize. It's completely based on how much they practice for the competition. Now let me go up and explain this model in further detail. Now there's a written version, so you don't have to read all of this here, but I'm going to give an example of when you have a 50-person tournament with an entry fee of $1, which is basically the lowest it's going to go. $1 is the lowest type of entry fee. So if you have, I would say this is a smaller tournament. Technically 50 people is a small tournament. So if you have a small tournament, 50 people, and there's an entry fee of $1, let's look at all the stats for it. Now, there are different things. We have total revenue, we have owner cut, we have remaining prize pool, first place, third place, second place, owner income, and the income loss of the people who failed the competition. Now let's start with the first one. Now we have total revenue collected. Of course, that's $50. Technically it's a little bit less because PayPal transaction fees and things like that, but it basically rounds to $50. Now the owner cut is 30% of the total revenue collected. Now I know what you may be thinking, the owner cut isn't that bad thing. That's a very greedy thing for you to do. A Gamer's Diamond, a very greedy thing for you to do. Now this is not for greed purposes at all. First of all, in order for any business to run, it needs income. But the more important thing is that this is to grow the Gamers Diamond community. We need staff members, we need moderators to help review footage, to help run more competitions. Right now, one person can only have one game hosted on the platform and can only run a very small amount of competitions per week. Per week. And that's assuming they have no job. If they were to have a job, it would be even less. So in order to grow the community of Gamers Diamond so we can offer competitions every day, so we can have better support, we can have moderators, we can have more games hosted on the platform for different types of gamers, there has to be an owner cut in order to grow. So that's the reason why there's an owner cut. Now getting on to everything else, we have the remaining prize pool after that at $35. So that's what everyone's fighting for, the $35. Now first place, you'll see that they get $17.50. Now this is a really important part because think about this. First place, the person who won first place, they just spent $1 and they gained $17, which means they made a profit of $16.50 in this situation, and they only spent $1. Same thing for second place. They made a profit of $9.50 because the last prize is $10.50. And third place made a profit of $6. Remember, this is a small scale tournament, so these numbers are not that high. But the idea is here that the number $1 has been multiplied, and I have the scales down there. That you see that scale right here, third place. When you have a 50-person tournament, this is always going to be the scales. Third place had their money multiplied by 7. Second place had their money multiplied by 10.50 and 10.5, and first place had their money multiplied by 17.5. And these are actually insane numbers. And that's without a pot bonus. Where a pot bonus is if I, as the owner, or an external factor, external player who's not an external user who's not in the competition, because we don't want people putting extra money on themselves, because I can see how that could be an issue. But someone who's not in the competition, or me myself as the owner, if we put money onto the pot bonus, none of this money goes to the owner's income, so that doesn't change. But this money is put for the prize pool for the competitors. So you can either do two things with this when there's a pot bonus, which I will try to put on many tournaments, at least a small pot bonus when we're starting out, is you can either do two things. We can add it to these first 3 places to make these even higher, or you can stretch it out where you can make 4th place, 5th place, and 6th place also have a prize, so there's a higher chance of winning. So basically this is all of the factors right here. And you see the very important part right here. Many people want to know the risk. How risky is it for you to compete in a Gamers Diamond competition? The income loss of the people who lost the competition is simply $1, of course, because that's what you spent. And $1, once again, this is one of the lowest fees you could ever pay for a competition. $1. So if you can't pay $1, I don't know what to say. I have no idea what to say, but that's the risk of it. $1, and it's 100% skill based, so you're not gambling your money. You practice more, you're going to more than likely win depending on how you practice. It all depends on how hard you practice in comparison with the competition. Now, that's very important as well, because as you can see, there's only 3 winners. There's only 3 winners, which means if there's 50 people, there's 47 losers. So that means 47 people just lost $1. Not a big deal to them. Hopefully, I know you're gonna be a little bit sad after losing $1. I'm trying to be serious. I'm really serious with it. But you can easily recover from losing $1. I'm just saying that. I'm saying that right now. Now let's get a little bit higher. Now, entry fee of $5. What happens if we have that? If we have an entry fee of $5, once again, still not high. Still not high at all. I would consider a high entry fee. People consider high entry fees anything kind of over. Some people consider over $10. Some people consider over 15 or 20. It all depends on the person, on how they see entry fees and their amount of income that they're receiving. Now, this is also a low entry fee of $5. This is a $5 entry fee in a 50-person tournament. Now, the total revenue collected is $250. And the owner cut, of course, is still the same, 30%. And you're left with $175. Now, first place is now gets $87.50. Second place, $52.50. And third place is $35. And the owner income, $75. And we have a model like this. The owner income is always going to be higher than second place, but it's never going to be more than the person who won the entire competition. Because I don't think that's fair for the owner. Even though they do own it, I don't think it's fair for them to win more than the person who won first place in the entire competition. So the income loss of the people who lost the competition is $5. Once again, this is absolutely insane. And this is much more insane than the last example, because now you've turned $5 into $87. So the profit of last time, first place, the profit last time, remember, think about, you have the same people. It just all depends on how much you pay for the entry fee. That's the thing about collective cash. The income of first place last time, even though it was only a 50-person tournament, the income was, well, the profit that was made was $16.50. That was the profit, because we subtract the amount you spent, we subtract that from the amount you earned. Now, in this case, first place earns $87.50, $87.5, and the income that they spent was $5. So in this case, even though it's the same size tournament, which means it's just as hard for them to win that one up there. It's just as hard because it's still only 50 people. But since everyone paid an entry fee of $5, now the profit from that is $82.50. Compare that. 82 down here, and you have only 16.5 up here. That's the magic, and really it's not magic, that's the math behind the collective cash model. And remember, that's with no pot bonus. That's with no pot bonus. And that's with a 50-person tournament. It all depends on the entry fee. And remember, this is a small scale tournament. 50 is not that many players. Of course, that's definitely hard to win, but 50 is still on the smaller scale tournaments. We're not even gonna get into it when you start doing 1,000 players, or you start doing 500 players, or 200 players. When you start upping up the numbers, and you can do the math for yourself because you have the model right here, you can start to see how crazy the model gets when you start getting up into higher numbers. And of course, when you get up into higher numbers, you're gonna want to start including more prizes for the people who didn't get in the top 3, because that's a little bit too strict. But when you have a smaller competition like this, it's only first, second, and third. So once again, you just changed $5 into $87 or $52 or $35. And if you didn't win, it's only $5 if you didn't win. Keep in mind, another thing about the prize I didn't put here is that the people who are under these places, first, second, third, the people who are under these places, they'll get discounted. They'll get discounted entry fees for their next competition. So it's not like they just lose and that's it. Even though they got really close to winning, they still get a reward of heavily discounted entry fees for their next competition. So it's not like they have to spend $5 again. They have to keep spending this again and again and again, even though it's still not that much. But even if they do have to keep spending it, if you place well, you'll get discounts for the next competition if you place well. So that is the payment model of Gamers Diamond. Definitely play around with this, because once again, it gets absolutely crazy when you start adding more players, when you start increasing the entry fee. Because when you start getting like to $10, I've already seen it, When you get to $10, if you were to change this into $10, remember everything would double. So your total revenue collected would be 500, and you already know how it is from there. It's absolutely insane, and it's still a 50-person tournament, by the way, which means your probability of winning is still exactly the same as it is. It's just a different entry fee. But once again, the model is insane. Test it out, and if you have any questions, make sure to put it in the comments or wherever you're watching this, and I'll explain everything to the best of my ability, because completely transparent about the payment. And that is the payment model of Gamers Diamond.